added musical instruments as my primary focus, also double bass. I was always interested in visual arts and music, and it seemed like a really great way to combine those two interests. So I went off to Red Wing, Minnesota for a year and studied at the school there, and I've been doing it ever since. The dichotomy between the engineering aspect and the artistic aspect is one of the things that makes it so appealing, and there's endless amounts of opportunity for creativity, but also opportunity to understand the instrument in a more, scientific, mathematical sort of way. It's kind of a Zen activity of just take your time, go slow and do it right, and you'll create fewer problems in the future. It's awesome. I love what I do, and I've really built my life around music and musicians and instruments. Sometimes, people will let things go pretty far and they're amazed when they get it back because it happens so gradually over time. And, some of the stuff I work on, especially, in the violin family and double basses, they can be hundreds of years old, and to get to maintain these things and make sure that they're going to go on and be playable and functional for the long term. Is really cool. And with vintage guitars, I've seen some really cool vintage guitars that I just did a refret on an old Strat that needed a refret 20 years ago probably, and the guy didn't do it. And now it's done, now it's playing, and it's like a new guitar again, but that guitar was built in the 60s, and now it's got another, 20 years of play on it before you need to do that kind of work again. I've always liked things that are hard problems, and a guitar is a hard problem. There's a lot of different things that can change the outcome in the end. So thinking about each different component and what it's going to do to the sound of the instrument, there's just an endless amount of things to learn and think about. The setup will just get way out of whack, and you don't notice it as it's happening, but then when it gets corrected and put back to where it was, they're like, oh, it's like a brand new instrument again, and they get the passion back for playing. Hardly anybody is just a full-time musician. You're either, teaching lessons or working with the orchestra or any number of things. It's really hard to just be a full-time musician, so it's kind of the reality of the livelihood. If it's hard to play, you're not going to want to play it, and it takes the joy out of it. So to get something really dialed in and playing as easily as possible helps people enjoy what they're doing, and that's really what it's all about. Instead of, doing maybe the most obvious thing, which would be to replace parts or whatever it may be, and instead trying to keep things as original as possible for the sake of the value of the instrument and just originality. Being a musician helps me be a better repair person and maker more than vice versa, because I understand what feels good on an instrument, what the setup really needs to be, and instrument setup is always a series of compromises. If you want a really low action, you're going to have more issues with buzzing, or if you want really clean tone, you have to have a higher action, and just understanding those subtleties of the setup. Let's see if he wants new strings. Oh yeah, that's good. The perception is that I can just crank it out, and but really a lot of this work is very time consuming, and you can't rush it. But to get something really dialed in and playing as easily as possible, helps people enjoy what they're doing. And, you know, that's really what it's all about, is finding the joy in playing. It's really, really important for people in this region to be keeping their humidity up, either in their house or keeping humidifiers in their case. Most of the problems I see in the winter come from lack of humidity, and sometimes they're fairly catastrophic problems if you get large cracks in your top and things like that. Every once in a while it crosses my mind of, hey, maybe I should just get a job. And then I spend 2 seconds thinking about it. I'm like, no. I wouldn't want to, there's nothing else that I can think of that I would want to do more.